earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. The first thing Moses tells us about God and his creation is this. God said, let there be illumination. And immediately there was light. Now Jesus in John chapter 8 verse 12 says, I am the light of the world. And this means the world is in darkness without Jesus Christ. Whoever follows me, Jesus says, will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. If you consider with me, if you don't mind, the story surrounding the nativity of Jesus Christ. And I ask you this morning to focus not so much on his birth, as splendorous and wondrous as it might have been, not so much on the swaddling clothes and the manger, and all the imagery and the messages that are drawn from the understanding that the King of Glory chose to be born in a barn or wrapped in fine designer clothes, but dressed in dirty milk rags. Jesus came into this world in a stench. He came into this world dressed in very dirty clothes. He understood who he was, but he was not defined by what he wore. He was not defined by where he lived. He was defined by the inner treasure that possessed his soul. I want you this morning to focus on the Magi, the wise men, and the whole process whereby they came to find the baby Jesus. With all the wisdom and knowledge they had acquired, still needed to be guided. The wise men still needed to be guided, and they were guided. And when you have that guidance, it is a kind of guidance that is a sure anchor for your soul. If you understand this, then everyone in this congregation this morning would recognize and realize that we all were guided at one point or another in our lives. As a baby, you were guided on how to walk. You were held by the hand on how to cross the road. You were even taught how to feed. You were taught how to take your bath. You were taught how to dress. So all of us over the years have been guided by our parents, by our family, by our friends, by our brothers and by our sisters. And if we're all given a chance to stand out here, we would point at the people who have brought us to where we are today in our lives. And this goes on to confirm the fact that no one made it all by himself. Help came all the way through. Even an arm robber doesn't make stealing all by himself. He needs help to succeed in theft. So everyone at some point in time needs help. At some point in time, people had to shine their lights on your path so you could see and move well. Let your light shine is a command from Jesus Christ. This further means that he has already given you a light. It is left for you to make that light shine. It is left for you to help others shine. It is left for you to lead others into discovering their purpose. It is left for you to help others discover the light which God has put on the inside of them. As lecturers, as our teachers, as our formators, you pass the light to your students. This is something every teacher must understand. That when you're in the class teaching, you're sharing your light to the students. You're sharing what you have to the students. Sometime in the year 1834, the ship for Fasher was struck, and 9 sailors were stranded in the sea. And they were saved by a young girl whose name was Grace Darling. But in this beautiful story, one of the ways they were able to be saved was that when their ship was destroyed by the storm, they all held flashlights and they were waving and flashing the lights so someone could easily see from a distance that there was a need for help. As part of preparation to take off in an aircraft, the cabin crew always carry out a demonstration, and it gets to some point where they tell you about the life jackets, and then they indicate where the light is, and you hear them say something like this: in the unlikely event of landing on water. And I know most of us, when we hear that, our heart skips a bit. It happens to me every time. In the unlikely event of us having to land on water, they tell you to put on your life jacket, and then they say that they point to some point, say, here there is a light, and once this light comes in contact with water, it comes on. Now, why is that so? Because the light is meant to somehow protect you. The light is meant to call attention to where you are. So with the light, you can be easily found when there is an unlikely event of landing in water. Now, this is what the university does in our lives every day. The university tries to bring out that light in each and every one of us, especially in the students. How many of us recently have taken notice of the monument at the roundabout by the main gate? The lamp and then the books. Many nights when I drive past the university gates, I notice that that lantern is never lit. Never. I don't know how many of you have seen it in the night, but in the night it's never lit. And I feel obviously there is no kerosene in that lantern. So I believe that the VC would put kerosene in that lantern. It reminds us of the parable of the foolish virgins who ran short of oil for their lamp. What the university does for you students is to constantly remind you not to run short of oil. That's what the university does every day in your lives. It reminds us of the importance of never running short of anything. I ask this question. What will you do tomorrow if you wake up and discover that the university is no longer here? You wake up tomorrow, the university is just off, gone, just like that. How do you think people would feel? Would some people even notice the absence of the university? Well, the reason people would notice is because the university is a symbol of light. The university is a symbol of light. And light is a symbol of hope. In other words, the university is a symbol of hope. When you walk through the gates of the university, you are hopeful of a brighter tomorrow. When you walk into the gates of the university, you're hopeful of a brighter future. Once you walk through those gates, you're hopeful that things can never be the same, that the future will be better than what we're experiencing today. This is what I feel every time I have to drive through the gates of the university. To the lecturers, you are a sure sign of hope to the states and to parents. It is a privilege, I say, to guide others. And to the students, you are a sure sign of hope to the states and to your parents as well, because it is a blessing to have others guide you. For the lecturers, it is a privilege to guide others. And for the students, it is a blessing to have others guide you. To the university community this day, I say to you all, let your light shine. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. When you're serious-minded, your light will shine. But when you derail and have the conscious decision to join a group, after all, you hear people say things like, after all, now government work. I hear these things. Some of the lecturers, some of the non-teaching staff will say, after all, now government work. If everybody says, after all, now government work, it will affect your children too. Because the lecturers will say, after all, now government work, and tomorrow your children will come to school. There won't be people to teach them because now government work. We have gone beyond the era where we say it belongs to them. It is no longer a thing of them. It is our own thing. It belongs to me. It belongs to us. It belongs to our family. And I remember, I want to quote the verse of the day she was inaugurated. There's something she said, that the university community belongs to all of us. It is no more one person's business. It is our business. If the university doesn't do well, you have failed. If it 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 doesn't do well, all of us here have failed, because the university is our collective responsibility. We discover over the period, we begin to have factions, we have cliques, and whenever we do those things, the only thing we do is we are dimming our lights. You dim the lights which God has given to you, because we do not create factions for progress. We do not create factions for promotion. We create factions to distort an already established status quo. We do not create cliques to ensure that the system is well. We create cliques to ensure that we destabilize the system. As a university community, are we ready? When I speak about the community, I speak about both students and staff. Are we ready to help and support each other to fulfill their dreams and goals? Are we ready to push others forward without the feeling of being threatened by their success? Support the students, support that staff, buy his book, read his book, tell others about the same thing. If that happens, no student will be compelled to buy a book of a lecturer. No student will be compelled to buy a book from any lecturer. Why? Because the mindset will be such that my lecturer wrote this book. I want to know what he said. I want to improve my knowledge, and I want to support his vision. That's it. We hear stories of how lecturers would insist for you to submit your assignment, you must submit with a copy of my book, because we've lost it. Lecturers print books over 1,000, 2,000 copies, and I go to some of their offices and I see the books just stacked up there. Why did you invest the money in the first place without having a market? That's why I say it is a collective responsibility. The students as well as the lecturers. For most of the lecturers, when you make this book, how many of your colleagues in the same department, how many of your colleagues from that faculty even buy your book? How many? Because nobody seems to be interested in what you want to say. But that has to change. That has to stop. It is something we all must do. As a matter of fact, we should be saying, why haven't you written a second book? Why haven't you written a third book? Because we want to learn more. We are hungry to be fed from what God has given to you. That is the mindset. Our university will be better if we appreciate each other. Our university will be better if we welcome the difference in the other person. Our university will be better if we celebrate the difference in each and every one of us. God made us different, and I really begin to wonder if everyone in this congregation this morning looks like me. Both the males and the females, you look as short as I am, as stout as I am. I wonder how beautiful the world would look like. God loves variety. That's why we have them tall, short, big, small, fat, white, the Hispanics, the Chinese, the Latino. We have all of those people. We have the beautiful ones, and in quotes, we also have the ugly ones. God made them all in his image and in his likeness. Amen. 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 What makes the light is the fact that it loses nothing when it lights others. Lighting others never dims your light. Supporting others never makes you lesser than you are. Holding others down doesn't mean you would get what they were supposed to get. You know, sometimes when we say I'm a PhD holder, you know what it means for the negative people? It says pull him down or pull her down. When you pull me down, it doesn't mean you're going to go up. You're still on the same level. So the best thing you should do is help me go up. Because when I look back and see how you helped me, the much I will do is give you my hand and help you up. And that way we have two people up. So our students, they need to understand that they have to move forward. And in doing so, they have to bring on board focus, commitment, determination, endurance, courage, sacrifice, and a good attitude. When you do this, the world will be ready for you. Many of us who will be graduating in a few days' time, the world is not ready for us. The world is not yet ready for us. But when you do these things, the world will become a stage for you to shine. And you see there's this beautiful song, I think by Rihanna. It says, shine bright like a diamond. That's what happens when the world is ready for you. The world will show your success. The world will lead you to the next level, because no pain, no gain. Sacrifice now to enjoy later. The difference between here and there is the alphabet T, which signifies time. Many people think only of investing money, but as need to think of investing our time. How well do you invest your time? You may be small, but when you invest your time, you grow to the external. You grow so much bigger than you can ever imagine or think of. In a community like this, There would always be difference in opinions, values, understanding, and a thought process which could obviously lead to conflict. When individuals strongly oppose other person's ideas or concepts, a conflict starts. Conflict can start any time and any place when individuals are not ready to accept the middle path approach. This happens often. A conflict, dear friends, never provides a solution to a problem. We hear about conflicts in this department, in that faculty. We hear about how some groups are trying to fight the office of the VC or the DVC. We hear about all these conflicts, but no conflict has ever provided a solution to any problem. It only worsens the situation. Where two or more abound, sooner or later conflict will occur, which leads to sometimes disrespect amongst individuals. It hampers productivity, and individuals often feel demotivated. But I'm saying this because sometimes your opinions may not be counted. And sometimes it's normal when you have a new office, you have a new authority, everybody tries to come around you. I'm saying this to you, Prof. It happens. Everybody tries to be your friend. Everybody, most of them here, they come around you every day trying to be your friends. And they come with their own opinions because the previous administration has gone and maybe they couldn't get what they wanted. And they feel, okay, she's a new person. And then the crazy mentality of because she's a woman, so let us try to prevail on her. Let us try to impose our thoughts on her. Let us try to force her to buy what it is we are selling. Ma, if it is not good enough for you, don't buy. Let the conflicts come. Let the conflicts come. But don't buy what is not good enough for you. I will not go to Spa and buy what I do not want. If it's not there, I go to some other place. That's the same thing too I'm speaking to you about today. And I need us all to remember that Jesus made it very clear. He said, a house divided against itself, I want to hear, can never stand. So if you think you're going to fight the authority, you're not going to stand. And if the authority thinks it will fight you, it still will not stand. That means for order to be in the house, there must be unity. There must be one accord. There must be togetherness. There must be friendship. There must be bond. And once we accept this friendship, the light automatically begins to shine. Light is a product of friendship. Light is a product of love. Light is a product of togetherness. Light is a product of one accord. It is important for us Christians to know that God is light, and wherever He is, no darkness can dwell. And if you dwell in God, then you carry His light. If you dwell in God, His light is with you. As a lecturer, what are you known for? As a lecturer, what are you known for? Don't think the students do not know you and what you stand for. They know you. They even know you more than your colleague. They do. They know what you stand for. And trust me, lecturers, they do talk. And they talk about you. They talk about what you do. You make advance on the female students. They talk about it. Whether she gives in or she doesn't give in, they talk about it. And you have -2. You make an advance on the male students, maybe for those who are gay, they talk about it, another -2. And once they talk about you, you are already labeled. Just like you walk into a departmental store and you find the commodities you want to buy, the prices are already there. They already give you a price tag. See that one? He's a womanizer. See that one? He does this. See that one? He does that. They always talk. You ask for money, they will give you the money, but they will talk. You are insensitive, they will play around with you, but they will talk. You are difficult and hard to get along, they will talk about it and they will label you. Well, for those lecturers who are unnecessarily difficult, I think the country Nigeria is already tough. So don't make things more difficult for us. What name are you making for yourself? Can you say, as a lecturer or as a student, can you truly say you are a light in this university? Or would you say you're just causing darkness everywhere you go? If you're removed from your department, if you're removed from your faculty, would people even notice your absence? Or they'll be thanking God. Oh, thank God they have removed him. And they'll be celebrating. It's a shame that when you leave school or you leave office, they are celebrating your absence. When people should be regretting, I wish you could stay longer, but they are thanking God that he took you away. It's a big shame. And that is a scar that will stay with you until the day you leave this world. As light supports life, so too, every lecturer is meant to support the life of the student. This is what we talk about when we discuss photosynthesis. So we are called, everyone, not just the lecturers, but the students today. We are called to support the moral well-being of this university. We are called to be models to the university. We are called to call everyone to the right path in a world of confusion, in a world of corruption, and in the world of decay. One of the greatest tragedies of today and of our university is a constant tendency to conform rather than challenge the anything goes attitude, which is the order of the day. Lecture is supposed to start by 9. The lecturers come by 10. Lecture is supposed to start by 9. The students come by 11. That's the order of the day. Sometimes lecture is supposed to start by 9. The lecturer doesn't come with his lecture notes. And we end up gisting and talking about politics and everything. That's the reality. The major tax of Christianity or the Islamic religion today is not the conversion of non-Christians or non-Muslims. It is rather the practice of Christian principles by Christians and the right principles of Islamism by Muslim. That is the major goal. Christianity, dear friends, where most of us predominantly Christians here, Christianity is a vision which is meant to change the world. Hence, when a Christian loses positive influence in the community, he is thereby impoverishing the world, compromising the essence of his own life, and ultimately turning off the lights. And many of us, we are doing that right now. It takes nothing to be kind. It takes nothing for the system to appreciate those who drive the process. There can be no university without students, and there can be no university without the staff. The students are very important, but the staff are very important as well. So if you're that important, then I believe the federal government should focus its energy and resources in supporting education. And that's a fact. Sometimes we compare what goes on in Nigeria to other states other countries, and we discover how many percent is education on the budget? 7%. 7%. And how many percent is the education for the renovation of the National Assembly? We've gotten it wrong. We've gotten it completely wrong. And mind you, what I'm saying will get to the federal government because it's going to be trending very soon on the internet. The government should focus on universities. The government should focus on the well-being and the welfare of staff and students alike. As a bit shameful as this might sound, I know the VC has a lot of work to do, but I need to say this. In 2015, when I did my PGD here, it was really difficult for me to cope because I came from a different environment. I came from a different mindset where in class we have microphones. In class, each student had a seat, had his locker. Everything was so beautifully organized. But when I came to the University of Calabar, the biggest shock I had was when I see the number of students packed like sardine in one lecture hall. And then the poor lecturer is busy straining his voice, and the one at the back is not even hearing what he's saying. You can't even sit and write anything. How would such a system grow? And I'm hoping that the VC would look into that. I'm also a student, for your information. It is for the good. We want, the VC also said, even if the University of Calabar is not the #1 university in this country, University of Calabar should be on the same par with every university established the same year in this country. And she cannot achieve that if we do not support her. She can't achieve that. I think it will be a thing of pride for us to say our university is towering higher than many other universities. It is the amazing effects one Christian can have. It's amazing what one Christian can do if he relates with others having the mind of Christ. It is amazing what can happen if we all relate with each other with a golden rule: do unto others what they want done to them. The Spirit of Christ sees the pain in others and tries to help them. It makes us all realize that we are called in one way or another to do what Christ is calling. We are called to be another Christ. That is the meaning of the word Christian. I want to be another Christ. As a lecturer, are you another Christ? As a student, are you another Christ? As a non-teaching staff, are you another Christ? The uncelebrated truth, dear friends, is that Christianity is meant to correct all the ills of a society and not endorse or tolerate them. Sadly, popular Christianity today not only tolerates these uncharitable, ungodly practices, but tends in a subtle way to endorse them. Sadly today, Christianity seems to have surrendered to a culture of wickedness, conflagration, injustice, inequality, oppression, nepotism, tribalism, ethnic sentiments, which today is a virus destroying our university. You go to some government offices today in the States and you hear a particular language being spoken. What happened to the official language of the state? Simply because the boss is from a particular place. So he goes to his village and hits a gong. If you want a job, come and collect. It happens. And some people who do not even apply for jobs stay in their homes and they get an appointment later. Oh, come on, this is what is happening today. And that is the biggest virus we have to face in our state. And that is the same virus we have to make sure doesn't creep into the system. Sometimes we forget about productivity. We just give opportunities to familiarity. When you bring in so many familiar people who are not productive, you are the one who would fail and not them. In conclusion, everyone in this congregation this morning has a role to play for the betterment of this university. Everyone today has a role to play for the light in this university to shine. We have a chance today to give our best shot at every decision we take as a lecturer, as students, as a management staff. We have a choice to make the right decision. And when we do this, the university will truly be a shining light. This institution will be better if we make better decisions and choices. And it is our collective effort today to look out for the best, to shun every vice, to speak up and speak out against it. We want a situation where everyone will speak up and speak out against it. And I want to challenge the VC. I need to remind you of this, man. 4 years ago, in church where I pastor, a lot of students met me and were complaining about the advances lecturers were making on them. A lot of them did. And we set up a committee in my church, not to witch hunt anybody, but to politely approach these lecturers and tell them what they were doing wasn't right. We did that 4 years ago. And it might interest you to know that the present VC was a chairperson of that committee. You remember, ma? But what I'm saying, dear friends, is when you try to do these things, you're not shining your light on them. You're dimming their light. You're dimming your own star. Today, Jesus Christ tells us, let your light shine. In the office, in the classroom, in the lecture hall, in the store departments, let your light shine. And finally, to our VC, I want to encourage you, ma, to uphold all you stand for. Be the difference the university has been looking for. Be the difference the university has been praying for. And finally, to each and every one of us, let your light shine. Thank you very much.